We're live, pals. Welcome back to the Retro Wave. This is a very special episode. I think we're 52 episodes in, and I've never done a live Retro Wave podcast episode. So the very special. We're doing it live, pals. Raw, uncut, uncooked, uncensored. And let me introduce my guest here. I got I think a guy that our first connection was actually the old school WWF magazines back in 6th grade. We got the Billster, childhood friend Billster. What's going on, Billy?
What's going on?
There goes the Billster and another the fellow Shark brother right here. Another old school wrestling fan who I think Tylord would have fit right in with us in the reading those WWF magazines in 6th grade. We got Tylord from Tylord Stevenson YouTube channel. What's up, Tylord?
No, just happy to be here. I am pumped up. We're making history. First time Retro Wave podcast live, right? And I don't have to talk with Wubs. I'm here with you. This is Retro Wave podcast. I'm pumped up.
And pump, baby.
We're live, pal. Yeah. So I wanted to do this episode kind of more of a open discussion. I was just thinking, like, man, I wonder how everybody became a pro wrestling fan. How does one become a pro wrestling fan? So since I see Billy walked away. Oh, before we get started, hold on. Oh, yeah, we gotta crack open a little brewski. I got my Steve Austin Broken Skull IPA. Crack this open here. By the way, for the audio listeners, what I mean by live is we're live on YouTube at Retro Tiburon on YouTube. There you go. Let's see. What does Tylord have to drink here?
Well, I couldn't find the Hogan beer. I guess you can't get it out here in California, like you were saying. And my Bevmo didn't have the Stone Cold, so I just got the Therapist from my high school hometown, Turlock, from the Dust Bowl Brewery. The Therapist, 10% alcohol, really strong, good flavor. I guess it's not wrestling themed, but I guess the wrestlers probably could use a lot of therapists.
You're gonna be feeling like Adrian Adonis after the Roddy Piper sleeper hold after you drink that. Yeah. What's up, Advent Darklink on the YouTube chat? And what does Billy have? What's Billy gonna have for his brew? I have the Steve Austin IPA. Tylord has the Therapist 10% IPA.
I'll take the Rapist for 10%. I mean that's Therapist. I have.
What do you got?
This is the a Guatemalan beer, Famosa. It's called it's the Gallo here in the United States. But,
does that taste like a Tecate?
It's like a lager. Yeah, I guess so. Since 1896, pals. So cheers to wrestling.
There you go. To being a wrestling geek right here, pals. Cheers. I wonder ADL Darkling's also a wrestling fan. Mm-hmm. But first question, I'm going to go around and ask you guys. Billster, what's your first ever memory of just pro wrestling in general? Like, when do you remember, like, it just you seeing it on TV, hearing about it? What was your first ever memory of pro wrestling?
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier today, and it had to be. I was I can't remember exactly. I know it was a Hogan match, right? And I think it might have been either a replay or not, but I know he won the title, and it was just right before. I'm thinking. I'm not sure if it was the first WrestleMania or the first time he got the title, but I just remember being a kid and. My brother, he controlled the TV, so he would always watch wrestling, and that's how I started watching it. And yeah, man, just being involved and watching the big, humongous wrestlers go at it. And Hogan always had that charisma, and he's the one that drew me to loving wrestling. So it was a Hulk Hogan match, and yeah, he won the title. I just can't remember from where though, but from then on, I was hooked. That drama got me. I mean, wearing my Hogan pants right here.
There you go. I got the Hogan top. So Billy's wearing some. I think those are Chalkline. Yeah. Chalkline Hulkamania pants. What about you? Huh?
Can we still like Hulk Hogan on TV these days?
Can we like a celebrity and not be
differentiate.
judged.
Yeah, yeah. The character. There's nothing wrong with the character at all.
That's right.
That's right, brother. What about you, Tyler? First ever pro wrestling memory. What do you remember? Like the first thing you ever remember?
Okay. Well, the thing that got me into it wasn't so much wrestling, but I was a big Mr. T fan. We watched the A Team all the time. And then he was like cross promotion. I don't know what we would call it, but he went from acting to do wrestling at that big WrestleMania. I guess it must have been WrestleMania 1 where he tag teamed with Hogan against Piper and Orndorff. And I just remember it being all over the media. And I see Mr. T with this guy, like, who is this guy with Mr. T? Like, he makes Mr. T look little. And I remember it was either Entertainment Tonight or Good Morning America. My mom, we were watching, oh, look, Mr. T's on. And there was this big guy, Hulk Hogan, and they were plugging their WrestleMania match or whatever. I remember they were always like working out and yelling at each other. And like, man, these guys are crazy. And then that's sort of what got me into wrestling. Mr. T was like my childhood hero, and his buddy Hulk Hogan. So I watched that. And I go, well, this guy Hogan's just as awesome as Mr. T. And that was back when when I didn't look into it too much. Like I didn't know about the moves or how a match was structured or whatever, and all the moves. You just see two guys fighting, and you're just in there for the story, and it seems real. So like this guy Hogan, and he would always get beat down and then come back at the end. So just like watching that as a kid. Hulk Hogan, all those other guys. There was quite a few characters back then. So as far as I remember, it was that around probably that time. So I was probably 5 or 6 during that.
So the Mr. T thing worked, like the tie-in with Mr. like bringing in Mr. T to get like more casual fans work with you.
Yes, it did. So I can see why they do stuff like that. And then I just remember my dad. Like, and then it went on towards WrestleMania 2, and Bundy broke Hogan's ribs, and I was, I hate Bundy or whatever. And then I remember my mom and stuff like, oh yeah, don't trust that Paul Orndorff guy or whatever. And I don't remember if he was good or bad at that time, but I remember I was telling my dad, because my dad's like a big guy, not like Hogan's size, and I was saying, oh man, Dad, you should beat up King Kong Bundy. You should beat him up. And I go, you could beat him up, right? And I always remember what he said. He said, oh yeah, if I had a baseball bat and he wasn't looking.
That's right. Let me read some of the chat here. We got Yasuke Supreme in the chat.
Hey, Yasuke.
What's good, fam? NWO is the way to go. Says for life. For life. And we got Advent Darkling, old school, was awesome. First episode I ever saw, Undertaker came down from the rafters on a zip line into the ring and just raged at the camera. Yeah. And he was there, he ever since then he was my favorite. I was hooked. Yeah. Was that like Survivor Series? Didn't he do that at a Survivor Series against Mankind? No?
I can't remember.
I thought was that Shawn Michaels he's thinking about, or Undertaker? With the zip line?
Shawn Michaels came down on a zip line. I don't remember Undertaker. He must have done it at one point.
Yeah, I remember that Taker came down like that, like at a Survivor Series. Against Mankind. What's up, Quesadilla Padilla?
What up, QP?
You know what? The first ever memory I had, I think I might have been like 5, and I remember being at my grandparents' house. Mm-hmm. And this is before I even became a wrestling fan, but I was playing with my cousins, I think. And on the TV, it must have been like Superstars, because we would only go to my grandparents' house over the weekend. It must have been Superstars or Wrestling Challenge, and I just remember the Bushwhackers were like coming down to the ring doing the little thing. And I was just like kind of confused. I was like, like who are these? Like who are these guys? And one of the kids, I don't know if it was my cousin or one of the kids, was like, "Oh man, these guys are so funny. They're so funny. These guys are awesome." But I just remember that was my first ever time like with wrestling being on my radar, and I didn't watch for years after that, but I still remember that for some reason, seeing the Bushwhackers like, whoa.
Whoa, baby!
That's definitely one of my early memories too. The Bushwhackers or George Animal Steel.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Let's see. We got hey, what's up, Dad Level? I know Vince used to be an old school wrestling fan from what I remember.
Old wrestling.
Yeah, and then the I remember that when I became a wrestling fan, I had a little Salvadorian kid that lived in my apartment building, and he had like a little like rat tail mullet kind of Eddie Guerrero haircut. And I remember he would always go into the dumpster and like dig out trash and stuff. But he
Oh
was
yeah.
also like super into pro wrestling.
Mm.
And we would go to the Ralph's. Remember the Ralph's, Billy, right there on Western and Olympic?
Yeah, yeah.
We would go to that Ralph's supermarket, and he would be like, he would go to the magazine rack back before when it was like cool to go to the magazine rack and look
Yeah.
at all the magazines, and he'd be, oh look, let me show you. And I remember it was their Survivor Series 1990, and they had the card, and he's like, oh look, this is this guy, this is who this guy is,
Yeah.
and I remember like the mystery, like the little silhouette of what was the Undertaker. And he's like, oh, and they don't know who this is going to be. There's going to be a mystery guy. And I was just like, oh, okay. And he was like, just always telling me about WWF. And he would even like try to put wrestling moves on me. Like, hey, let me put the perfect plex on you. And I'd be like, okay, whatever. And I remember he pinned me with a perfect plex. And then he ran out of my apartment and went home because I chased after him. But that's when I became a wrestling fan because of that kid. I don't remember that kid,
Really?
but that kid was just like super into wrestling. I don't remember his name, but
Oh, too bad you couldn't track him down.
yeah. And he also gave me head lice because he used to go into the dumpsters, like I said. So shout out to you, kid, too. You forgive me lice too.
Take a drink for the headlights right there.
Swig a beer for getting head lice.
For
Oh,
Brian, 7650.
Hey, what's up, Brian fan?
Hey,
Let's read some of the chat. Let's see. What did Quesadilla say right here? I loved wrestling. I love when wrestling was on Saturdays and Sunday mornings. Yeah, that's WWF Superstars and Wrestling Challenge.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. What's up, Brian fan? Advent Darkland just looked. It was the Survivor Series. I was right, 1996.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he comes down kind of like a vampire. He's wearing kind of like a vampire cape.
Yeah.
Rewatch that one.
Yeah. That's the one where Shawn Michaels loses to Sid. Remember? We watched that live. Because remember, you and Billy was there and Angel, and we were all rooting for Sid. We were all pumped when Sid beat Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
We're like, fuck Shawn Michaels. Okay, another question right here. Tyler, I'm going to start with you. Who was your first favorite pro wrestler? Who was like the first guy that you were like, oh man, this is my guy right here?
Okay, well, I guess when I was really little, it was Hogan, of course. So I don't know if I should count that, but I think when I really started becoming a fan, I took a little break for a couple of years and came back. And that's when I was like a little rebel kid, and I liked the bad guys. And Ted DiBiase was always my favorite. Like that was the guy. Like I always was looking forward to his matches and listen to all the mean stuff he would say. So my very first one was Hogan though. But like after I took a couple of years break and came back and became a wrestling fan for like 10 years straight, it was $1 Million Man.
Damn, so you were you were a heel.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, I don't know what it was. You know, there was like the second time I got into wrestling because like we were kids and then we thought it was too cool to like wrestling. I don't know why. Like it's at that age you wouldn't like wrestling. I think probably because people saying it's fake and make fun of you, so you try to pretend like you don't like it. But then my buddy and my best friend was like, "No, we got to watch it. It's really fun. Let's just watch it and pretend and make fun of it. Just watch it to make fun of it." So we started to watch it and. And then we were like, yeah, this is stupid. Look at these idiots. And then we started like getting into it. I started getting glued to like the story or whatever. Like, oh, wow, this is cool. I want to watch. And we started watching it every week after that. But I remember it was like with Boss Man and Jake the Snake, and Ted DiBiase was like trying to buy the Boss Man or something. And it was like a fun little storyline. There was the Brother Love show. So I think like Ted DiBiase was like a cool like villain type character I really liked.
Yeah, he was cool. I think he might have been my first favorite heel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I don't even need to ask Billy. I think he already answered it. But you wanna?
Yeah. Definitely Hogan for sure. My favorite growing up throughout. But just to throw in another one, Macho Man. I like Macho Man a lot.
Yeah,
his promos always got me, and that elbow drop was classic. He was always a good wrestler. As far as a heel, I'm trying to think of what heel I liked. I guess.
Actually, I actually instead of who you like, what was the first heel you hated that you were like, oh, I can't stand this bad guy?
Oh. Man. Oh, I think Sergeant Slaughter was fucking annoying. Sergeant Slaughter was probably one of the first ones that you're annoyed. Let's see who else. Was Brother Love the fucking heel?
Yeah.
I just hated it.
Yeah.
He was a fucking instigator. Fucking
Yeah.
brother.
He was a troublemaker.
But,
Brother Hogan.
Yeah, those two.
What about you, Tyler? You were a fan of the heel, so who was like maybe yours would be a baby face you hated first? Who was the first guy you hated?
Well, when I was a little kid, I hated Bundy, of course, because he was so mean and he jumped on Hogan and broke his ribs and all that. But later on, I guess I didn't like the Warrior. I couldn't stand them. So I think I was kind of happy when they started putting all those hit pieces out on him later. But then I kind of got smart to that, and then I ended up liking the Warrior. But like I think at the time I didn't like the Warrior at all because I just like run through all my favorite guys.
Yeah. Let me catch up with some of the chat. Let's see.
Razor Ramon.
Let's see. Yeah, Razor Ramon was.
Hey, Carla.
What's up, Carla? Quesadilla says favorite heel was Razor Ramon. Remember seeing the 1-2-3 Kid beat him? I remember seeing that live too.
Yeah, me too. I saw that live. Yeah.
Dad Level says. Vince says I started with Hogan, but then Quesadilla. I started with Hogan, but then it was Ultimate Warrior. Dad Level says Hogan and Piper were my favorites.
Yeah.
Carla says hi, Tib. Hey, what's up, Carla? Let's see who else. Anybody else? Yeah, that's it. I think for the first guy I hated, maybe because I started watching the summer of '91. So yeah, I think the first guy I fucking hated was Ric Flair. Because I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, and he looks super old, and he's beating. He keeps beating Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is like twice his size. Why does he keep losing to him?
What the hell is that lump on his back?
Yeah. I mean, then I grew to love like Ric Flair became one of my favorites to listen to watch. But as a kid, it worked. Like I hated him because he was always cheating and like hooking the tights or putting his feet on the ropes to beat people. I hated him.
Yeah.
How about your first favorite tag team?
All right, Tylord, give us your first favorite tag team.
Wow. I guess with Demolition or you know what I thought just because they were hilarious and that's when I started getting into it was Rhythm and Blues.
Rhythm and Blues was your first favorite tag team?
I don't know, I just thought they were hilarious. No, probably Demolition. Just that their song was awesome and they looked cool.
Can you do me a favor and read mainly retros?
Mainly retro.
Rick
Corey, he's obviously a Rick Rude fan. I know that's his favorite.
He put quiet down, all you. Read it, Tyler.
Yeah, quiet down, all you sweat hogs, so I can show the ladies what a real man looks like. Yeah. Yeah, he was pretty awesome too. I know that's Corey's favorite wrestler.
I like when he would say like, I need all you Cincinnati sweat hogs. Hey, what's up, Shode? Shode says the Nature Boy.
Yeah. Woo!
Carla says I love Tylord's laugh. Quesadilla says I thought the same of Bob Backlund. You probably because he was really old.
Yeah, he was badass though.
I always love when like Heenan would call him Opie. Let's see. Quesadilla says, the Demolition looked badass with the spikes. I think my first favorite tag team were probably the Demolition too.
Yeah.
What about you, Billy? Who was your first favorite tag team?
Man. And I really like the Steiner brothers for sure. Yeah. They were pretty good. And I really like the Rockers. They were just always a lot of energy. They were like fast and they were a little bit different. But I don't know. I think Heart Attack was probably my favorite though. That not the Heart Attack. Anvil and Bret Hart.
Foundation.
Heart Foundation. That's what I meant. Yeah, not heart attack. That's the finisher.
Yeah,
Heart
that's a good name for him.
attack.
The heart attack. Mainly retro says Road Warriors.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
I think.
finisher.
Yeah, I mean, I think I used to love the Rockers. I remember that's one of the first, like angles I remember being like really into when the Rockers split up. I remember like watching that live and being crushed when like
Yeah.
freaking Michaels threw Jannetty through the window. I was like, no, what's going on? Why did he throw him through the barbershop window? Let's see. Dad Level says, but during the WCW, it was Goldberg. I didn't really have a favorite tag team.
Yeah.
So nobody out there had a High Voltage as their favorite tag team from WCW?
No, I guess not.
Guess not.
What was that? Those two big buff guys who were there?
High Voltage.
Is that what
All right,
they were?
Yeah, let me ask you guys another question.
Okay.
What's the first wrestling move you ever put on a kid or a friend?
Oh,
Because we all did it. We all
Yeah.
put a wrestling hold on a friend.
yeah. I guess it was $1 million dream because that one's kind of easy to pull off. We would always try the figure 4, but I couldn't figure out how it worked until I was like a teenager. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little more complex.
Yeah.
Show says the Lion Tamer. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, he busted somebody's back with the
Oh
Lion
yeah, Boston Crabs.
Yeah, I think maybe the figure 4 or the sharpshooter. One of those two.
I like the Rockers. Marty Jannetty says quesadilla right through the glass of the barbershop. I love when Heenan. What does Heenan say? Did you see that, Monsoon? He tried to escape through the window.
What an act of cowardice!
Will you stop? That was insane when Sean threw Marty through the window. Says mainly retro. I DDT'd my little brother. Says Evan Darkland. Quesadilla says I DDT'd my sister.
God damn.
Did you do the little like the finger wag first and to set up the DDT? I think. What about you, Billy? Were you the recipient? Because I know you have older brothers, or were you actually able to put wrestling hold on people?
Yeah, no, I was more of the recipient. Definitely getting a lot of fucking jackhammers. Not even a jackhammer, suplexes on the bed. Yeah, I think that I would get the $1 million dream on me too. Unfortunately, even the fucking bushwhacker, the armpit, I believe I got.
Oh, you thought about Pity City, the
Pity
Nasty
City,
Boys? Yeah.
I do remember that actually. God damn. And definitely the figure 4 as well in sharpshooter. I think by you more than anybody.
Oh yeah, man. Billy remembers. I used to like putting. I was like.
You would do
bit
the
by the
Owen Hart one too.
Yeah, by the wrestling bug. I was like, let me put the torture rack on you.
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
let me put you in the razor's edge. Hey, let me put the sharpshooter. And the figure 4, like you, Tyler, I was like, how do you do that? It looks too complicated. And I had a friend, Billy remembers him, Roger Che, our Cambodian friend. He taught me how to put on the figure 4. I remember he took me to the front yard. I was like, oh, let me show you. You grab this leg and then you go around. I was like, oh, damn. Now I know how to do a figure 4 leg line.
You just got to think of it like it's a 4. Like you actually like make the guy's legs look like a 4.
Yeah.
Quesadilla says she had the biggest lump on her forehead. I got in so much trouble.
Okay. Over on the DDT.
Did you guys ever get in trouble for putting a wrestling move on somebody?
I remember when I was in high school, this kid would always, I was in 6th grade, and this kid would always like try to bully me. And then so I wanted to clothesline him like on wrestling, so I kept running over and trying to clothesline him, and it wouldn't work. And he just started like crying, and then finally he fell down. And then I got in trouble, and then we were friends after that. Yeah.
Let's see. Torture Rack was a popular one. Says showed. Hey, what's up, Pepino? Dad Level says I had a few of my best friends that did backyard wrestling stuff. I would record their matches, but that was not my thing. I did sword fighting.
Oh, wow.
What kind of sword fighting are we talking about?
Nice.
No one ever snitched on each other. We always got even. I remember I had a friend that I was like, hey, let me try to put the. Remember Shawn Michaels used to do that little back suplex
Oh
at
yeah, I
first.
like that one. Yeah.
I remember, let me try to do that, and I dropped him right on the back of his head, and he
Yeah.
started crying, like
Oh.
crying. I was like, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And my solution was, I'll let you give me a move, and he's like, okay. So I remember he wanted to do a back body drop.
Oh no, hell
And he
no.
just grabbed me and threw me, and I think I bet like an accordion.
Oh no.
And I was like, oh, we're even now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, snitches get stitches. I remember doing an enziguri too to a kid, and the kid started crying too. And I was like, no, 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 sorry, sorry, sorry. And then his dad came out, and he didn't snitch. He's like,
All
oh,
right.
no, nothing, dad. It's just I fell. And I was like, oh, thank
Oh,
God.
how nice. Yeah.
All right, let me see. Next question here. What do I got here? What's the first live show you ever attended, Billy?
Man, what's the first show? Jesus. It had to be one of the um it must have been with I think feel like it must have been with you maybe. And when we go to Arrowhead Pond,
Yeah,
so
Anaheim.
Anaheim, the house shows, probably WWF at the time one. Yeah, with like Stone Cold versus Savio Vega kind of days.
Yeah.
I remember those fucking matches pretty clear. I
Wow.
feel like that was one of the first ones that I went to. Do you remember
Yeah.
those?
Those were the house shows. I think
The
I
house
still have the ticket stubs from those shows. So Billy and I and some of the friends in the neighborhood, we would get like the higher tier seats, like the ones in the like the middle or the top, and
Hmm.
then we would sneak down to the floor
Yeah.
seats.
Yep.
And it was kind of like, hey, if you get caught, you get caught. Like, but if you make it down there,
Yeah.
you
What
make,
happens? Yeah. Can you get caught or they don't care?
I don't
I think
think none of us ever got
Yeah.
caught, right?
I think String got caught once. I don't know.
Oh,
I
yeah,
do remember
yeah.
pulling down his pants down once. I think, and while he was stepping on his seats.
What about you, Tyler? I think you started going to shows pretty early, right?
Yeah, it was either 91 or 92. I went to the Arco Arena where the Kings played. That building is gone now. When I was driving by there with Omega Ace, when we were last saw you, it's all like houses or apartments now. But the Arco Arena, and I love that place. It looks just like when you see the stuff on TV, you go there in person, it's like exactly like how you imagined it would look. Um, and it was just a house show, so there's no cameras or anything. I was kind of confused about that at the time. Like, why aren't they recording all this? This is all fantastic. I didn't understand what house shows were, but it was all a wonderful card. Like every single house show back then was just like stars after stars in every single bout. But it was Piper versus Flair in the main event, and it was when Flair first came and he brought the NWA belt through. And Dude, and I loved Ric Flair. I know you guys didn't like him at that point, but my granddad was a huge wrestling fan, so I would always watch like NWA and WCW with him. So I thought it was awesome when Ric Flair showed up in WWF. Like, oh, this is so awesome. And then Piper's there, like he's like the biggest star pretty much besides like Hogan and Warrior and Macho Man, or he might be up there. So like those guys in the main event. And I remember Bret Hart would always say Piper's never been pinned, but at that house show in Arco Arena, Ric Flair pinned him. Like he put his feet up on the ropes and pinned him 1, 2, 3. So I guess
Wow.
house shows don't count or whatever. But I
Yeah.
remember, but I remember after that, Piper beat him up and took his belts away, and he was in there posing to his music while wearing the NWA belt the whole time.
That must have been a trip. Like if you were a NWA,
Yeah,
WCW fan and you see
yeah.
a WWF guy wearing the belt.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, but I
I think
remember I did find someone recorded that, and I think I sent you the link to it on YouTube. It's on YouTube, that whole event, and it was freaking awesome.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That like
Yeah,
someone recorded it with like a
yeah,
camcorder, I think.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I think you bring up a good point there, Tyler. I forgot about it. Like the first time you see the ring, and when you walk
yeah,
through, oh shit, there goes the ring right there.
yeah,
Yeah, probably start looking around, and you see the entrance. You're like, fuck, this is
yeah,
awesome. This is so cool. Like you're like, oh man, this. Kind of feel the same way when you go to different sports arenas, but for the
yeah,
wrestling, you see that ring in there, you're like, oh fuck, right there. Then you realize you got to walk all the way up. But other than
Yeah. My seat's way up
yeah,
there.
yeah,
yeah,
but then I also remember we had to take fucking actual pictures. So we had to be
yeah,
selective. selective with the shots that we took.
Yeah, yeah. I had a little Polaroid, and they all came out shitty.
Yeah. Actually, hold on. I might go see. Wow.
Billy might have some
Oh, right on.
wrestling.
I don't think
Let's see.
I have anymore. I got one of Doink later on, but that's the best one I ever because I ran right up there and took a picture of him when he was up on the turnbuckle, like shooting his confetti thing or whatever.
The good Doink or the shitty?
It was the bad
baby
Doink.
face?
It actually
Oh,
fought Bob Backlund. It was the bad Doink versus face Bob Backlund. That was in Stockton.
Oh, that's what I meant by the good one. The Matt
Oh
Borden.
yeah, the
He was
good one.
actually.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that there were two of them until you told me.
Yeah, Paulo something was the other
Yeah.
guy. Let's see. Quesadilla says, first show I went to was back in 2022. Went to a Friday night SmackDown. Oh, yeah, that's me putting Billy in the military press.
Whoa. Dude,
I
that's
went
pretty
to-
strong for a kid.
Yeah. And look at the kid watching us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty strong for a little kid to do that.
It's similar to the shirt I have here.
Yeah.
WCW. Let me read Quesadilla. It says, first show I went to, 2022. Went to a Friday night SmackDown. Saw Cody Rhodes. The fight was on the channel. Quesadilla says, Tiburon being in the West Coast, did you guys get Mexican wrestling on TV too? I used to watch wrestling in Puerto Rico along with the WWF. Puerto Rico, was that like the Colones? Like the Colones? Like Carlos Colon, I think?
Yeah, that was
Puerto
Yeah. Was he Puerto Rico or he was yeah.
Yeah, I think we used to get so it was like Telemundo, so we used to watch like AAA, so it was like we would see like Conan and who else was there, like Octagon and Mil Máscaras, El Santo. I would watch it a little bit, but I think I was just such a WWF fan. I was so Americanized.
Yeah.
I would just watch a little bit of lucha, but I never got super into it.
I would watch it. Couldn't understand it, but I would watch it just because it's wrestling. It was on a lot. I didn't know their names. I remember there was more women wrestlers back then, right? In luchadoras compared to like. So I would watch it just to get aroused, just to watch the.
Get aroused.
Yeah.
Good pictures here. Look how close I was to the goal.
Oh, yeah. That's a Polaroid. That's a Polaroid.
Damn, that's close. Well, you were right up in the front there.
Yeah, man. Look at this one right here.
I think
what
that's the Rock.
Yeah.
So these are Polaroids. So for the audio listeners, Billy's showing Polaroids from actual house shows, showing the Rock and Goldberg. That's how close you were able to get.
This is my hand on Rey Mysterio.
Wow.
Go a little more to your right. That's it, right?
Yeah, move it the other way.
Left.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. That's right. Unmasked Ray right there.
Wow, that's when he had the little horns.
Yeah. Yeah. Quesadilla says, yep, Carlos Colon, Abdullah the Butcher. Oh, man. I remember seeing those freaking like PWI magazines with Abdullah the Butcher and being scared. It was like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something with all the blood. R.I.P. Ray. Did Rey Mysterio die? Why are you saying R.I.P. Ray? He didn't die, right?
I don't know, unless he just died.
Hey, what's up, Rushmore?
Right,
Rushmore. I think for me, the first ever wrestling show I went to, I mentioned that on one of the podcast episodes, WrestleMania 12.
Oh, yeah.
And I still remember, like, you know, you're looking for your seat and you see the ring there and you're like, holy crap, there I go. And it looks so big.
Yeah.
I just remember being like, oh man, that's the ring. And it was like so big.
Yeah.
Oh, I got one of you actually down at the bottom in the WCW.
Oh, that's
it. Go to the right.
The other, there you go.
Oh, that's me in the little speck right there.
Oh, where's that at?
That's the sports arena, or was that the Forum, the Great Western Forum?
Yeah.
Which one's that one, Billy?
I don't know.
I think I want to say that's the Great Western Forum. That's where the old school Lakers used to play. Magic Johnson.
Here's the other one. I don't know. We're doing like the thing to this guy at the
security guard.
The security guard. We're just doing.
We're doing the NWO post. Rushmore Kirk. I'm guessing this is Kirk from the Rushmore show.
This is you and XPW, I think.
Oh, that's when I was training to be a wrestler at XPW.
Wow.
So we would have to put up the ring and then take down the ring. Fun times. Rushmore says, Kirk from Rushmore. Bro, I have been to so many wrestling shows. I love watching it with my son nowadays. That's cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so for me, WrestleMania 12. All right, let me go to the next question. This is a controversial question right here, pals. Tylord, when was the first time you realized
Uh-oh.
wrestling might have been scripted, might have been
Wow.
fake? Do
Hey,
you
what the hell?
remember?
Fake?
Y- You know what? I can't really pinpoint a moment. It just sort of gradually, sort of built up. Like I just kept hearing to deny it and deny it until finally I just accepted it. But I don't remember the exact date or the exact time. Later on, when I got into like judo and like wrestling, like submission wrestling, when I was like at 14 or so, I realized, okay, this stuff is not practical. Like, of course, it's fake, but I still liked it. Like, that didn't prevent me from enjoying it, and I still marked out all the time. But I don't know. I remember I would think it was fake, but I would get mad. I would think it's kind of real, but like if the guy I didn't like, if the guy that I liked didn't win, I'd say, "Oh, that's fake" or whatever. But of course, if the guy that I liked won, I'd say, "Oh yeah, it's real." But
Yeah.
certain people though made it look legit, even though it's all this phony baloney like Irish whips and bouncing around and jumping over each other. But some people make it look really legit, like just their man, just the way they carry themselves. I was thinking like Macho Man and Arn Anderson. Like there's quite a few of them. There's too many to name, but they're just such professionals. They just make it look like they're really trying, and there's really a competition going on. So it was it so I just sort of like slowly over time I came to realize it was fake, but it not just it wasn't just like I had an epiphany like all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vince from Dad Level Podcast says, "What? It's fake?"
Oh, we're not supposed to say that,
Showed says, "I set up a wrestling event once when I worked as a stagehand.
huh?
Pretty cool
Cool.
to see how it's built." Yeah, it's a lot
Yeah.
of work to put up a ring. There's a lot of parts.
Yeah.
I don't miss doing that. How about you, Billy? Do you remember like Tyler said, an epiphany, or you realize like, okay, I think this is scripted. This is not legit.
But first of all, I gotta wonder, why do I have this picture though? That's weird.
Oh.
There's a picture of me as like a third grade.
Well,
It's good.
Anyway,
I did have hair at some point.
I man, I for sure as a youngster, I always didn't really think. I thought it was real for sure. I still love the dramatics. At one point, I guess maybe like mid or like Attitude Era, you just knew it was more of a show you were watching. You knew it was kind of I guess predetermined, I guess, but you just always had respect for the show. It was always like a nice show that you were watching. You opted more for the athleticism, the moves, smacking each other, and just being just being like a showman. So like and I always tell people like that movie's fake too, but you still
yeah.
watch it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, it's still a show that you're getting put on, and obviously when
Mhm.
people try to look at it for like the fighting and like they see the punches are fake, then I think that's where you go wrong. So, but
Yeah.
then I do remember when it flipped on me when I didn't know it was Hogan versus Rock. I was like, is this real? Well, who's gonna win? You didn't know who was
Yeah.
gonna. You're like, okay. I remember that brought it back to not knowing who was gonna win.
Yeah.
Kind of thought that before that you're like, I kind of know who's gonna win, but then when that match happened, it kind of brought you back to being a little kid again. That's why I love that match so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Let me catch up with the chat here on YouTube at Retro Tiburon for the audio listeners on YouTube. Rushmore says, "Great picture." Quesadilla says, "Takes skills to be 250 pounds plus and do a flip from the top
Yeah.
buckle and land on your opponent without getting hurt." Yeah, that's for damn sure. Show says, "Young Funk." That was actually me in the picture. I don't. ADL says, I don't know what time, but there was less and less blood over the years. So I started to notice. Yeah, I think Vince kind of
Here's,
cut back.
here's
Oh,
Mhm.
one more.
Oh.
that's our graduation picture from
Mhm.
high school. I love Rushmore says, "I love when there is some real heat." I think that's kind of the enjoyment I get now when you find out, like, because we all know everything now. You hear, like,
Yeah,
you see
yeah,
YouTube and you hear all the rumors. When you
yeah,
find out people don't
Yeah,
like each
yeah,
other, you're like, oh, okay, they don't like each other. This is gonna be good.
or
yeah.
they're
Uh,
or they're all friends now or something.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't really care for that. I mean, I can see the appeal of that, but I just like to escape into that fantasy and just go for like the story. And now everything is just like, oh, they have a press conference afterwards talking about, oh yeah, I think the show went really well, and I think our acting skill, like I
Oh,
liked
the
it
press
better. I
conference.
liked it better when they kept what kayfabe. They kept it the whole time, and they act like they really don't like each other. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Makes a difference.
yeah,
It makes a big difference. It makes the
yeah,
movie.
yeah,
You know, on Morgan Freeman being an
yeah,
actor.
yeah,
Stay in character, buddy.
yeah.
Speaking of making a difference, the first time I realized wrestling was fake, I remember
Oh
I
no.
would I would try to rationalize, like, and I don't know how you guys rationalize the rope thing, but I'd be like, okay, if you get, maybe the ropes are so, like, powerful, like they're special ropes, so you go into them and they're gonna just launch you off. Because I would be like, yeah, why do they have to, like, if someone throws you at something, why do you come back?
Yeah,
Like,
they can't stop.
so I would try to rationalize, no, these ropes, they're like special ropes, like you're gonna bounce off. But I remember, did you guys ever, like, try to rationalize anything? Like, oh no, this is why that this happens. You guys ever do that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, and I think Hogan's really good with that too, because he'd always be like, oh, he's be so visual, and he'd be like, oh, the ref, that should have been 3, or his foot was on the ref,
Yeah,
like that. It was
yeah,
always yeah.
yeah. Like track runners or marathon runners wish they knew this secret where they just can't stop running. Like,
Just get a set of wrestling ropes and bounce off them. But like I said, speaking of making a difference, I remember when I was like, oh, this is fake. I rented a Coliseum video. Shout out to the old school Coliseum video VHS tapes.
Goddamn.
I remember it was a battle royal. Like, it was one of those, like,
hmm
I guess before they started recording on Raw battle royals. And there
hmm
was a shot of Make a Difference Fatu. Remember Fatu when he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Make a Difference Fatu? And he does, like, the Undertaker throat chop
Oh, and the miss.
to Double
Yeah.
J Jeff Jarrett.
Uh,
And the shot they put, it's like,
oh no.
here's his hand, and Double J's like way here.
Oh
And Double
no.
J sells it. And I was like,
Oh
he
no.
didn't hit him.
Yeah.
And he pretended that he got hit. And I was like, it is fake. It's
Yeah.
fake.
Yeah. I rarely saw that. I would see it every once in a while, but yeah, it really breaks your heart when you see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Rushmore says, I think that's when I found out, when I started to get online and watch stories and the rumors from the from like Twin and the Insider websites. Yeah, I remember those. I used to go on Lords of Pain, I think it was called lordsofpain.net or something.
That's probably another website these days.
Yeah. I remember. I remember Perfect was wrestling someone on a Coliseum video. I don't know if you remember this, but the guy, I don't know if it was Hogan or whoever, but he swung a punch and it obviously missed Mr. Perfect. And Mr. Perfect did his little awesome, like, flying, like,
Yeah.
fall down still. And the commentaries always play that stuff really well. Like Mooney was all, oh wow, that one, did that one connect or whatever? And Roland Alfred says, I don't know, but it certainly scared him.
Or they would always say, "Oh, he didn't get all of that. He didn't get all of
Yeah,
it."
I remember the pile driver with the barbarian, like his head just hit his legs. Like it actually looked more painful than an actual pile driver because Hogan's neck was like bent up on his legs. And he said, oh yeah, well he didn't get the mat, but he did crank his neck there on his leg."
You didn't get all that, folks.
Yeah.
But
You, go ahead, Bill.
I don't
Oh,
know.
what do you
It just like as far as being fake, but also what made it real for you? Which move were you like, oh man, that's a really fucking,
Yeah.
that move fucking hurts. Which move was your favorite hard move?
Go, Tyler. What's your favorite power move?
Dude, I
Which way
don't
you
know.
were like, man, that looks like that shit would hurt.
I don't know, like I always talk about the pile driver, the sit down one. I always thought that move was like so devastating, and it looks so good, like when someone executes it right, the sit down pile driver. But probably DDT, Jake's DDT
Yeah.
in particular. That was the one. Like, wow, dude, I don't know how they can fake that. Yeah.
I remember we had a friend. I know Billy remembers him. Remember Juan that lived on the same block as me? Juan, he had a brother. It was like a bunch of brothers, but we had a friend, and maybe he doesn't remember him, Juan. But he one time got in a fight with a kid across the street. They got into a fight. Carlos, I don't even remember. He was like a pothead, and he had like curly hair. And Juan and him got into a fight, and Juan DDT'd him like on the carpet, and it
Oh,
ended the fight. It ended the fight.
oh wow,
The
yeah.
guy's like he got up and his eyes were like
Oh,
bloodshot
poor
red, and
guy.
he's like nah, like okay, I'm good. Like he dropped him right on his head. So
Yeah.
I was like, the DDT is legit.
Yeah,
You know the D-
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that one time Mark Kerr, the MMA fighter in Pride, went to tackle the guy, and he probably just did it himself, but the guy DDT'd him and knocked out Mark Kerr. I think it was just Mark Kerr like spearing him, like doing a double leg takedown, but they always call that like the DDT that knocked the guy out in MMA, because the guy like he tackles him, but the guy falls down and he lands on his head, and Mark Kerr like Mark Kerr was like the favorite, of course. He was gonna smash this guy, but he fell on his head. It looked like a DDT.
I think I've seen that, and he like
Yeah,
spiked, didn't he? Like knock
yeah,
himself out or
yeah. He
something.
knocked out, and that was the end of the match. Like he was on top of the guy, and then he just sort of.
Let me catch up with the chat. Rushmore says, "I love the rumors back in the day. Who was jumping promos or going to NWO? Yeah, good
Yeah, that was
times."
awesome. Yeah,
He said,
dude, yeah, it was so awesome to see like one of your wrestlers you like show up at another place. Like it was such a hype.
Yeah.
or like when Luger first showed
Yeah,
up to
Yeah.
on Nitro at
yeah,
the Mall of America. You're
yeah,
like, what? He was
yeah.
just on SummerSlam
Mhm,
yesterday.
mhm,
Kirk says, "Backyard wrestling made it real. Scorpion Deathlock." I,
yeah,
I actually made someone tap with a Scorpion Deathlock, but it was super hard to put on for reals.
yeah.
It was like
It
a
looks
really
hard.
hard.
Yeah, it looks hard to do that move.
Yeah, mainly retro. Corey says, "I DDT'd my cousin through a table after drinking. It was not comfortable." Wait a minute. Did you guys Did you put him on, set him up on the table, get up on the table, and then DDT him? Or how did you do that? How do you DDT someone through a table? Kirk says Rushmore. Mark Kerr has one of the greatest KOs when he got kicked in the face. Oh, I remember that one.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that
Yeah,
he gets
that-
clean knocked out, right? And he falls on his ass, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say, Billy?
Did you guys ever buy the wrestling magazines?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's another question.
Oh, that was
Did
so
you guys collect
Oh.
the magazines?
Yes.
Yeah. I still got a few. I wish I mean, I guess I did know about this, but I should have looked through it. But they're in like some totes. I have some, yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
But that's why you would see like the top 100 or the ranked
Well,
wrestler.
Yeah, like the Pro Wrestling Illustrators annual awards was like my
Oh
favorite.
yeah, always good.
Yeah.
What about you, Tyler? So you did buy them? You
Oh, all the
collected?
time, dude. Yeah, that was a highlight. Like to this day, it's still in my blood. When I go to the grocery store, I don't go that
Yeah.
much. My wife usually goes, but I just want to go look. Oh, well, look at the video game and the wrestling magazines.
They still
Like
have those magazines?
No, they don't. But I just always go over there because that was like when I was a kid. If I went with my
Oh.
mom, I was just like, okay, you go shopping. I love going shopping because I can just go and look at all the wrestling magazines. Like there were so many back then. Remember, there was like all different publications of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. There was so many of them. There was the WWF. There was the WCW. You could just sit there for like hours looking through them all.
Hey, what's up, Eris?
Hi, Eris.
Corey says it was a particle board folding table someone had in their college apartment. Rushmore. Oh, there you go. It was the PWI 500.
Mm.
Yeah, when they ranked the 500. And I remember for a while, it was like if you were number 500, that was a lot better than being like 350. Like you wanted to be 500 because if you weren't in the top 10, you wanted to be the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to love those. Man, I missed that. Like running to the magazine rack and like, oh, let me see what wrestling one they have. And,
Yeah.
And like looking at like you said, EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly. And Yeah.
You think we'd be looking for the blacked out area on the thing, or the old dirty magazines?
Yeah. I don't know if you remember the the wrestling, like not the WF, but like the black and white ones, like Pro Wrestling Illustrated had all those like dirty, like kind of pornographic female wrestling videos
Oh
you could
yeah.
order. So I'd be looking at those all the time, like it would show pictures of like these scantily clad women like wrestling in their lingerie in an apartment room. And they would show those. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was the
I remember
yeah. It
I
was
was
like in the back of the magazine, and it'd be like
yeah,
two girls in bathing suits
yeah,
wrestling on like
yeah,
gym mats or something
yeah.
in an apartment or
Yeah, I
something.
remember I was looking at the magazine once, like I was reading one site and there was an ad like that. And the other, my mom walked up, like, "What are you looking at?"
I love seeing who moved up. You could see who was about to get a push. Hey, that'll be a
Mhm.
good question right here. Who
Mhm.
was like a guy that you rooted for that didn't get pushed? That you were like, come on, man, this
Oh,
guy's good. Why is he always
yeah,
losing? Or you would like root for him, but he never
yeah.
made it to the top. Who was that for you, Tylord? I'll let Billy think about it.
Okay, well, most usually I would like the guys. They would end up getting pushed well, but I remember towards the end of the time I started watching wrestling, there were a few guys I liked, but they never went near. I remember there was that guy. His name was Tiger Ali Singh. He was like Tiger Ali G's son, and he was kind of like a Middle Eastern version of the $1 Million Man. I go, yeah, I want this. This guy's going to be my new favorite. But then he just kind of like went nowhere. He was like some rich guy that had a little bodyguard, and he would pay people to do stuff. I remember he was like the Middle Eastern, or was he Indian? He
Who
was.
are you talking about? Sorry, I had to go.
His
I had to
name
go
was.
grab
Yeah.
another Steve Austin IP real quick.
Oh yeah. I'm done for now. I finished mine. I remember it was towards the end of the time I liked wrestling, and the $1 Million Man was gone, and there was that guy Tiger Ali Singh. I go, yeah, this guy's like he's like the Eastern version of the $1 Million Man. Like,
Oh,
and he
you're
had,
talking about the Attitude Era, dude?
yeah, yeah. I go, man, this guy's awesome. He's gonna be like the $1 Million Man, but then like he just kind of went nowhere.
Yeah, yeah, I remember
Yeah,
he wasn't around a lot. Rushmore
yeah,
What?
says, oh, Corey says the model Rick Martel. We can't
yeah,
bring up the model Rick Martel without letting Tyler give us a little model Rick
yeah.
Martel. What do you
Uh,
give us?
Tito Santana, you're lucky I just walked away. Tito Santana, things could have been a lot harder for you, Tito Santana. I'm tired of you riding my coattails, my coattails.
Give us the Bret Hart one. What do you say?
Uh,
Everybody saw.
Everybody saw it. I had Bret the Hitman Hart beat for the Intercontinental title. That's right. I had him in the Boston Crab. And a Punk and Shawn Michaels showed up and interfered and cost me the belt.
That's it.
Yeah.
You got any Tatanka ones?
Um,
The Rick
I
Martel
don't know.
cutting a promo on Tatanka?
Rick Martel. I can't really do
No,
Tatanka.
Rick Martel cutting a promo on Tatanka.
Tatanka, you stinky Indian with your feather. I had to put perfume on your feather because you stink. It was so easy to embarrass you.
I like
Please don't make me embarrass you again.
I love the one. I don't know which. I think it was a WrestleMania 8 promo. And he says, I have some reservations about Tatanka getting into the building. He said, I see he was out there scalping tickets.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they can't get away with that anymore.
What was
Yeah.
that? What was the question before that though?
Who was like a guy that you rooted for that wasn't maybe didn't get that push? It was like your guy that you were
Yeah.
like little guy that you're like, oh man, the little engine that you were like, oh man, they should push
Yeah.
this guy, but they never did. Rushmore brings up a good one. The man of 1,000 holds, Dean Malenko,
Oh,
who is not poor. God damn it, I don't care what Mega Dan says. Dean Malenko is not poor.
Or
just because he's not 300 pounds and 6'10".
Yeah. How about yours? Who was your guy, Billy?
I mean, I guess Adam Bond he got a push. He just never really did anything with it.
Yeah,
I
That
really
was one
like
of my guys.
I
yeah,
really
that was
like
pretty
Adam Bond.
awesome.
He did a good job but that's it. Little guy. How about little Blitzkrieg from WCW?
Oh,
That guy,
that's another good one.
I don't
he
remember.
was that Blitzkrieg. I wanted him.
He
I
was
don't.
good.
He never got any titles, I don't think, but he was always fun to watch.
Well, he doesn't have to be little, but just like a guy
Yeah.
that you were like, man, why isn't this guy's awesome? I love this guy. Why isn't
Yeah.
he getting a chance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Blitzkrieg was cool. He used to do like a moonsault into a 450 splash.
Oh wow. Okay, got a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah. I think for me, I think it's got to be Owen Hart. I remember because I loved Owen Hart. You remember I used to love Owen Hart. And
Yeah.
I was like,
Owen
man,
Hart.
why can't he get a world title? How come they don't give him a world title push? And I think maybe also like I used to love Perry Saturn.
Yeah.
If you guys like Perry Saturn in WCW, I was kind of pissed when he went to WWE and he just did the moppy gimmick. Remember that when he would just walk around with a mop with a face on it?
Yeah. No, he was good. Yeah, he's definitely underrated. But
Yeah,
he I just saw an interview with him and who was it? The Chris
Maven?
Van-
Maven, was it Maven?
Was it Maven? Oh, it was Maven. Yeah, Maven. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah,
He talked about how he should have got a better push in WWF, but I mean they put him to work with Brock Lesnar. No, he's definitely good.
yeah.
Who else?
We got some from Rushmore from Kirk. He said Chronic was cool with Adam Bomb.
Yeah.
Adam Bomb and Crush.
Yeah. Those.
Yeah.
Are, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. That was awesome.
And then Blitz.
Yeah.
Kirk knows Blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg was insane. Reminds me of Suicide and TNA. Yeah, that guy was good. Apparently, that guy like retired from wrestling and then just went to be like an IT guy. He just
Really?
like went to do IT
There you go.
because he was like a skinny white kid,
Uh.
but he would wrestle like lucha libre stuff.
He was German.
No, he was just a white dude.
Okay, I don't remember him too much. There were so
Saturn.
many cool guys in WCW at that point. Like there was like 100 guys in WCW, and they were all unique and awesome at that point.
Yeah.
Another guy I forgot to mention was Chico Santana.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I started watching, because I didn't know about him being like Intercontinental Champion, Tag Team Champion. When I was watching, he was getting jobbed out to like the Warlord and the Barbarian,
Yeah, and
the Mountie.
Congo, yeah, the Mountie.
And I was like, man, this guy's awesome. He has a
Yeah.
cool flying forearm.
Yeah.
Why is he always losing?
And he's like a big, strong-looking guy. Like he could be like the hero character. Like, yeah. And then I was always thinking like, what if he would have made his Matador thing like a villain? Like he could have been like a badass heel because he was never a heel, huh?
Nah, maybe he's like a Steamboat where you can't
Yeah.
really like hate him.
Yeah. I can't imagine him or Steamboat as a heel.
Rushmore says Vampiro. Vampiro was a classic one
Yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah. Good too. Yep. How about
WCW.
our boy Morbus?
Oh hell, Morbus. You mean Mortis? You mean
Mortis.
Oh, Mortis, yeah.
Morbus?
I guess there's Famosa's kicking in.
That guy's awesome, but I hate his move. It's so freaking stupid.
Tylord hates the flatline.
Dude, I hate that move. It's so freaking stupid. That's like if I didn't know wrestling was fake. If I didn't know wrestling was fake up until that point, that was what would have done it for me.
That's kind of what I feel with. That's kind of what Cody Rhodes' finisher is.
Yeah, I hate all those stupid moves.
But he doesn't hit it as hard as
Yeah,
Mortis.
yeah. Cody's is even stupider.
That one, yeah, I think kind of makes it soft. He needs to just hit that shit up.
Chris Canyon, yeah.
Because it was like a side Russian leg sweep, but he had his head the other way, right? Like instead of like back to stomach, he was like stomach to stomach, and he does like a side Russian leg sweep, right? And it looks like the other guy's doing a rock bottom to him.
Yeah.
I think Chris Canyon got blocked because he was doing the flatliner butt naked backstage with the guys.
I bet he enjoyed that, huh?
Rushmore says WCW mid-level and cruiserweights were my favorite.
Yeah,
Damn,
awesome. Yeah.
I think all of us we love that.
Yeah.
The mid-level guys, the underappreciated, like
Dude, yeah, and like guys like Ernest Miller and what's his name? What's
yeah.
his name? Smiley.
Norman
go.
Smiley.
Yeah.
Hey, you do the smiley dance?
Yeah,
Tyler?
I can't dance like him.
My favorite promo of Ernest Miller, I think he was on like WCW Saturday Night,
Yeah.
and he said, "Man, I'll whoop all of y'all in here." And he said, "Matter of fact, I want you all to lock all the doors in here, call my mama. I'm about to whoop everybody in this building.
Dude, that guy's awesome. That's the guy that should have gone somewhere.
He was actually black belt, right? Or he actually?
Yeah, he was like a 3-time karate champion.
I just love the idea of it. Like, lock all the doors. I'm gonna whoop everyone's ass.
Yeah,
in this building.
yeah, and like for a while, his gimmick was that he didn't like wrestling. He was just a karate guy, and he was like beating the shit out of everyone.
He said, play my James Brown music.
Yeah, dude, he turned into like a James Brown.
Who was his manager? That Asian dude, right? Sonny O.
Sonny Ono was for a while, and then he had that really hot girl. What was her name? When he turned into a face, there was like that.
Oh,
really
I don't remember
girl.
that. One of the Nitro
girls.
Her
name was like Miss something or Mrs. something.
Miss Hancock.
No, it wasn't her. It was she could do like karate and stuff. She was like Mrs. something, like Mrs. Jones.
I don't remember.
That's a good question. Underrated manager.
Yeah.
Let me go. Rushmore says Kidman, Raven, Flock,
Palumbo.
Yeah.
All those guys are awesome. Yeah.
I used to love the Flock when they would like all get destroyed by like DDP or Goldberg. They would all get like destroyed.
They all just run in and get.
And it'd be like in those bad action movies where they run in one at a time. They don't all jump in at the same time.
Yeah.
Juventud, I used to love.
Yeah, that guy's awesome.
Hoobie Juice.
Hoobie Juice.
And Ultimo Dragon and Psychosis.
Psychosis.
Yeah. Lash LaRue. That guy was good
LaRue,
too.
yeah.
The Cajun guy with the sideburns. What about favorite like managers then? What are some in the chat too? What are some of your favorite managers? Go Billy. Some of your favorite managers.
Jimmy Hart all the way. Bobby
Heenan.
Even Sensational Sherry. She was awesome.
Oh yes.
Let's see who else we got. You give Lita some props. So she was a good manager.
With
jumping off that top rope with that Frankenstein in it.
Yeah.
Smelling like fish. But let's see what else. Those are good ones. Underrated one maybe. I don't know. Was there any?
Hey, what's up, Chris? Sorry, CM Retro in the chat.
I think Virgil was probably one of my first. He's a manager, right?
Yeah. He's a manager type.
I don't know. He had a nice drop kick.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I like the Slick was probably my favorite, but I don't know if he's underrated or not.
Jimmy Hart also says CM Retro. Get on him, Honky. Stay on him, Honky.
If you watch Tiburon's match, the one he has on his channel, Billy's pretty. I heard Billy say a couple babies, and they're like, "Get on him, baby."
Get on him, Honky. Stay on him, Honky. Paul Bearer. You have a Paul Bearer, Tyler?
Yeah.
Paul Bearer for sure.
Do you do a Paul Bearer, Tyler? Give us your Harvey Whippleman though. That's
500-pound Ugandan giant from the deepest, darkest jungles of Uganda, with his manager or with his handler Kimchi. Tight.
Oh, that's what we were like wrestling. That was Billy as my manager.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Is that the? I'm sure that's not the same one. You hit the
That's
video.
a different match. Yeah. Sherry and Heenan were my favorites as Retro.
Best, yeah.
What's up, Rye Dog? Give us the Giant Gonzalez Harvey Whippleman promo.
My 8 foot tall Giant Gonzalez is gonna kill you, Undertaker. I don't remember that.
How about CM Retro says? How about Bobby the Brain and Mr. Perfect managing Ric Flair?
Yeah, Mr.
Who's that guy? I know that's me in a wrestling mask, but who's the guy with me?
LA High security guard, remember?
I don't remember that picture.
So Tim would bring his mask to high school and wear it.
That's how much of a Lucha Libre fan I came with my Lucha Libre mask to high school.
Yeah, CM Retro brings up Mr. Perfect too. I think he was just out for the time because he had a neck injury, so he was managing Ric Flair. But I thought he was an awesome manager. And I always wondered, like, why isn't he wrestling? Because he was, like, one of my favorite wrestlers, but he was, like, a badass manager for Ric Flair.
Yeah, I remember that WrestleMania 8 when he pulls out, like, Savage out of the ring.
Yeah.
And he is, like, tearing up Randy Savage.
Yeah.
CM Retro, yeah. Flair never needed a manager. That is kind of true. It was kind of weird having Heenan But maybe they just wanted to maybe Vince was like, oh, people don't know Flair, so we need like an established manager with him, like someone that's actually hated here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan says I became a wrestling fan as soon as I seen Trish Stratus find booty. Wow, we were. DDP manager before wrestling. Yeah, he used to manage
he was.
Bad Street, or who was it?
Bad
Who did he
Street.
manage?
Yeah, Bad Street. I think the Diamond Stud.
Hey, what's up, Coffee Warrior? This is another wrestling fan right here.
All right.
This one's for Ryan right here. The inside of this DVD right here.
Thanks, Ryan.
Billy showing a picture of Stacy Keibler.
Oh my God! Yeah. Yeah. Can we?
WWF knew what they were doing.
Yes, he's in my top 5.
Let's see what else we got. Let's see. Sunny, Sable, and Lita was my favorite escorts.
Yeah.
Let's
Sensational Sherry for me. You know me. That's by far Sensational Sherry. Especially like when I was like a 10 or 11-year-old kid and I saw that hot woman. Like that was like the highlight of every show.
Oh, another wrestling fan, Raza. He says the Diamond Studs.
Yeah.
Was that the name of the stable? Because I wasn't watching WCW at the time.
I think they might have been called that. The Scott Hall was the Diamond Stud, and he would have and what's his name? He would have the studettes. Like women could enter a contest to be his studettes, like the sexy women that take his clothes off or his chaps off when he comes down. Because he was supposed to be like a sex symbol guy, the Diamond Stud, and he would always have like women around him. And DDP was his manager.
Yeah. See, Coffee Warrior says I became a wrestling fan when I saw The Rock, Triple H. See that's a lot of for like the younger people. Even not younger, a lot of people became wrestling fans in the Attitude Era.
Yeah. So they're probably getting middle aged by now. Like.
Let's see. The Ramadan can't be looking at these hot divas, says Raza. I like how as soon as Retro Ryan enters the chat, it all turns to about the divas.
There's Linda. Sorry, Linda.
I wish to give Keibler my Clooney. Says
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, Linda? We're just talking about old school wrestling.
Yeah.
Favorite manager. I think I always liked I actually used to. You know who I really hated was Jimmy Hart. But it was because he was doing his job right.
Yeah.
Because I used to hate how he'd be on the megaphone, and you could just hear him.
Yeah.
You could just hear him the whole match, just yapping. I'll be like, shut this guy up.
Come on, referee, where'd you get your glasses from? Get on the
Get on him, honky.
Get on him, honky. Stay on him, honky.
There you go. There you got him. Stay on.
I like the WrestleMania 6 promo with the earthquake, and he's like, he said, good news. There was just on the Richter scale, the epicenter is here in Toronto. Yeah, the mouth of the South. WCW were the big boys play since we were all like WWF fans first. When was the first time do you remember, Tyler, the first time you realized, there's other wrestling companies out there outside of WWF?
You know what? I always was about WWF because all my favorite guys were there. But then eventually, of course, I like WCW better because they all went over there. But my granddad didn't know the difference. My granddad was a huge wrestling fan. He watched all of it. Like he'd watch the USWA and the AWA on ESPN. And he didn't really know any difference. Like I would try to tell him, no, Grandpa, that was the other one. But he just loved all of it. So I don't think he could decipher what was the difference between one or the other. So I liked all of them. But what was the question? Like when did you realize?
I remember like a time when you were like, there's other wrestling companies.
Yeah, I think it's like my granddad would watch WCW, and that's where I learned about Ric Flair and Sting and all those guys. And I remember everyone saying it was like the cheesy wrestling, but it's not. Like if you watch it, it's not that much worse than WWF. It's like super high production value. But you watch guys like Sting and Stone Cold was there, or Stunning Steve, and I think Steamboat went there shortly after WrestleMania 4. but it was badass. But I found out about that, and I dug it right away when I found out about WCW.
But was that a trip? Like, because I
Yeah.
didn't watch WCW till like way later 90s.
Yeah,
So was
yeah.
that a trip when you're watching both and you would see like one
Yeah.
wrestler go back and forth and you'd be like, wait a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah, it was a trip. Like, and now that I go back and look at it, I don't know how I kept track of all that, because I go back and watch a lot of it now. There's those YouTube channels and there's Netflix and all that. Like, fuck, like I can't keep track of like when Arn Anderson's here or there, or Vader's here or there, or the British Bulldog. Like they go back and forth so much.
Raza loves the NWO shirts, he says.
Oh, thank you.
I love Sting and the Clash of the Champions, says Kirk.
Oh,
What
dude.
about
Clash of the Champions. That was it. It was like pay-per-views, and they'd be on like 3 or 4 times a
TBS,
year.
wasn't it?
Dude,
TBS.
they were freaking good. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me catch up with the chat. Kirk says people tend to forget 83 weeks WCW was beating WWF.
Yeah.
Both were fantastic. Man, that was peak like wrestling, being
Yeah.
a wrestling fan.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think they surpassed it at one point in the late 90s. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
That was the peaks. Raza says Sting was my late brother's favorite and mine as well, says
Yeah.
Raza. WCW and Monday Wars was my favorite ever. WCW, Raza says WCW promoted international wrestling, which I like. We got introduced to luchadors for that's what I became a WCW fan because of NWO.
Yeah.
And then because you would get like see Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio, and then you'd get like the Japanese wrestlers too.
Yeah.
Ultimo Dragon, like
Yeah.
the guy that goes unspoken. His name is unspoken. Chris Benoit in the WWF. He was fun to watch too.
Dude, yeah. When I first saw that guy, they were plugging Juice and Thunder Liger on WCW, and they had a match with Juice and Thunder Liger with Benoit in Japan, and like they were using it to plug Juice and Thunder Liger for his debut in WCW, but also like. You see the guy he's fighting Benoit, like those guys were like leagues above like the technical skill of anyone at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Billy? Do you remember? Because you said you're a WWF fan to start off. Do you remember when you first realized there was like other wrestling companies?
Michael,
Well, let me tell you something, brother. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I've always been a Hogan fan, but it was when Flair came up to WWE or to WWF. I was like, I heard that he came from somewhere else, and I was like, somewhere else. And I think I first started it, but I didn't really start watching something else until Hogan left WWE and went to WCW, and that's what brought me over to WCW. Yeah. And then I was like, I started watching it there. And that's when I really started watching. But then also we mentioned also the Pro Wrestling magazine. That also you could see like there were all these names of wrestlers I didn't even know of. So that's what I knew it was bigger.
That's a good point. The magazines. That's how you knew.
Magazines, and the P500, you like wrestlers. And then so like that was probably when I really started switching over when Hogan left WCW. That got my interest there, and of course. But then it was the actual talent in WCW that was actually really good.
Yeah.
Like that cruiserweight. Yeah. The weight now, I think it's probably heavyweight now.
They're all together now.
All together now, yeah.
Rushmore says
Jericho as a heavyweight, but he is technically.
Yeah, that's true. Kirk Rushmore says so. My kid works out in the same gym as Cody's Nightmare Factory.
Nice.
And Arn Anderson and Glacier are always there training. That's awesome.
Right on.
That's pretty cool.
What's up, Pondy Gator? I love Disco Inferno. Yeah, he was fun.
He was hilarious. I don't know what the hate is for him. I always thought he was like the next honky tonk man.
I think Tyler can do the disco dance, can he?
I don't think so. I remember when I was
a ref like this.
When
disco
I was
Disco Fever.
Oh yeah, when I was a referee for an independent wrestling promotion over here. I was the referee a couple times, and they all called me Disco Inferno because I had like hair like him.
Benoit. Kirk says Benoit's house is not far from my house. Damn.
Wow.
Have you ever visited? Does anyone live there?
Is it haunted?
Yeah, Pondy. What's up, Pondy? What's up, Wolfman Mike? The Radicals were my 4 favorite. Benoit, Saturn, Malenko. That was an awesome group right there.
Yeah, when they all showed up at once, huh?
That's when I had a hard time transitioning from WCW to WWF because I loved Eddie and
Yeah.
like Benoit and Saturn Malenko. When they went over, I was like, I don't gotta watch WCW anymore. They got all the best wrestlers now.
Yeah.
This is a dope podcast. Shame will have to keep talking. All right, thanks, Raza. Thanks for swinging
See,
by.
Roz.
Last truly great year of WWE. A lot of people will say this is like they're bigger than they've ever been, but
That's true. Is it though? I don't know.
No, yeah.
I
If you
just
see the arenas, like they're packed now. I don't know who likes that crap, but I guess a lot of people. I guess a lot of people do. Like the arenas are packed now. It makes me happy to see that.
they have a better product, but I wouldn't say
Okay,
it's better.
yeah.
You know, they,
It seems like the only thing people talk about is, oh, Hogan got booed, like that's the big news, or John Cena turned bad, like it's never anything about like the actual like wrestling.
That's true.
yeah, that's true.
Let me catch up with the chat. Pondigator, I love pro wrestlers and anime and video games.
Yeah.
But I'm not into actual WWF stuff. Rushmore says Alex Wright was another great. Come on, Tylord. Give us a little Alex Wright from WCW Thunder on PlayStation 1.
Hey, man, Alex right here. Guten Tag. I can't do it. Guten Tag.
What would it say? The flying Germans?
Alex Wrights. The Wunderkind. No. That high flying action in smashing sea. I don't know what he said.
Later, Raza. Right now, it's pretty awesome since Triple H took over.
Yeah, I got to get back into it. I really want a reason to get back into wrestling.
Just watch it, big dog.
Since we're talking about that, like, where are you now as a wrestling fan, Billy? Where are you now as a wrestling fan?
Yeah, last few years I've kind of come back to it with the entry of AEW. Started watching it there. They've kind of gone downhill, but I think it's I'm invested. I don't watch it like religiously like I used to, but you know, it's good to have the WWE doing a good show. I think I was clowning a lot on the women's products, but they're good too. They're actually doing some really good matches, and I think they're doing a good job. So I'm happy. I'm happy with it. I don't watch it as much, but I'll get some chills sometimes, especially when the crowds are good.
Yeah.
So, I'm still not 100% invested, but I do like a lot of the shows, and I still like fast forward. I've never watched like a full show. I still got to fast forward a little bit.
Oh.
What about you, Tyler? Where are you as a wrestling fan?
Okay. I remember about 10 years ago, I came back into it pretty hard. It was like when Triple H was like the big evil overlord, and they had like Daniel Bryan and CM Punk and what's his name, Dolph Ziggler and all them. I came back in around then. It started to seem more like back from the 80s. I got into it that's the last time and then I kind of lost interest after that WrestleMania in Los Angeles, or no, it was in the Bay Area over here. Was
Santa Clara?
Yeah, Santa Clara, yeah. And then I kind of lost interest after that. But that's like the last time I would sort of got into it. The last time I got into it hard was like the early Attitude Era in the WCW. But right now, like I don't really watch it, and I don't know if maybe I should, because I watched some video like people talking shit about look how shitty this, like they do, like what is it called? What's it called when you mess up?
Oh, the botch.
Botch. Yeah, they were saying, oh, look at this botch with Chris, what's his name, Chris Jericho and some other guy. And I watched the whole match, and I thought like the match was pretty darn good. Like I know there was a botch, but like man, I could watch this, like it was pretty good. So maybe I should get back into it.
There you go. Is that a 7-Eleven cup?
Oh,
Refractor. I don't know if it's
yeah.
That's cool. All right, let me catch up with the chat. Ryan says Dark Side of the Ring.
But you can't see
season
that
6.
You can't see that these days. It's not that popular with the Slurpee cups now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you see them all over, like doing like Slim Jim commercials, and I know like guys not my age but a little bit younger at work are always talking about it. So it must be popular now. Like my friends, they're not like nerds either. They're like cool guys that like the ladies and all that. Like guys at my work, they're all into wrestling now. So like it must be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let me catch up with the chat. Kirk from the Rushmore show says, my son and I watch every week now. I stopped watching for like 10, 15 years. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, right on.
Ryan says Billster only watches WWE for the cheesecake. Rushmore says, man, when I was in basic training, I had my family record every WCW,
Yeah.
ECW, MCW, which one's MCW, and WWE for all the weeks I was gone. I
Wow.
watched all of them before watching the first live. Oh, that's
Hell
cool.
yeah.
Ryan says, I say it was dead after the ruthless aggression era, 2008.
Yeah. That's
It's
a.
too it's too PG now, but now it's on Netflix. So they can get a little bit more edgy. Retros, mainly retro. Last match I remember was AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. It's been a while. What a great match it was.
I like AJ Styles. He's a good
He's
guy.
good. Rushmore says, Steve Udon, you should come do a wrestling Rushmore with us. Let me know. I'm down.
All right on.
I'll do a wrestling podcast episode anytime.
You
As long as it's old school. If it's modern, I'm not gonna be worth a lick. Yeah, I think for me, I'm like kind of like Tylord, like. But you know what? I keep up with it, but I can't sit and watch Raw for 3 hours. I can't sit. I don't know if SmackDown's 2 or 3, but I can't find myself like I'm gonna sit and watch wrestling for 3 hours. And you don't have to anymore. I just catch up by watching the YouTube highlights. Or on Instagram, you just see like you go to Reels and you just see. That's how I keep up.
Yeah. I
You
think
think
it
it's
might be. Oh, go ahead, Billy.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna ask if you think it's because you got into wrestling and you got a little over wrestling out, or no?
I think it's too much.
Yeah.
Back then, like remember when we were watching, you had an hour of WWF superstars, 1 hour of wrestling challenge, and
Yeah.
then you had primetime wrestling. I think was 2 hours, right? And then Raw was like an hour for a while. So it was like easy to keep up with it.
Yeah,
Now I'm like,
most of it
"Man,
was
it's too much."
most of it was jobber matches too. So like the big matches meant something.
And
Yeah.
then
Well,
you would, yeah, it's too much now. I think.
you would also have like back in the days, storyline would last like a year or 6 months.
Yeah.
Now it's like every month because they have to.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep
Yep.
up with it. Yeah. And then I was gonna say before we go on about you not knowing about wrestling. Now I remember when we watched the Royal Rumble last year. You're like, I don't watch wrestling. Like I don't. And then you like, but then like every single guy that came out, you like, oh, you knew everything about him and who he was dating.
Yeah, I think it's because I keep up with like YouTube, like all the drama. I watch like I don't know if you guys know Wrestling with Regret.
Yeah.
And all those guys.
Okay, yeah.
I keep up that way. But
Okay.
if you were to tell me sit down and watch 3 hours of Raw,
Yeah.
that's too much. I think I'd rather just play a video game now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Kirk says Music City Wrestling came on like 3 a.m. I don't know Music City. Was that like Jeff Jarrett?
The
The
world's greatest dancer, the world's greatest country music singer, the world's greatest wrestler. What?
And then I'm going to put the link to the thing on the chat. We got like 30 minutes left of the podcast, but I'm putting the link if anybody here wants to come in and just talk about
All right.
how they became a wrestling fan. I'll give you guys access. If not, we're going to end it with a little trivia game at the end. I'm going to put Tylord and the Billster to the wrestling trivia challenge right here. but let's give some people a little bit. See if anybody jumps on in the next 5 minutes or not. We'll just get to the game. Anything else?
How about your favorite wrestling taunt?
Tom.
Like wrestler taunt or their trademark, like the
Yeah.
Hulk.
Right there. This one right here.
Oh
The
yeah.
Hulkster. The Hulkster right here. It's the best one.
Oh, what about Rick Rude?
The Rick.
All right, top five. Yeah,
Yeah.
five. Rick Rude. Oh, look.
Top 5. I think I like this one right here.
Yeah, that's a good.
Damn, that's a tough one. Taunt. Let me look at my wrestlers back here.
I like the
What,
Macho Man.
what, the $1 Million Man.
Top rope elbow.
Oh yeah. Oh, you dig it. Oh yeah, Macho Man dig.
There you go.
Oh, the Nature Boy, the little like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
little
little
strut,
Yeah.
little strut.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that one. Ric Flair, woo!
Then
Okay.
Dick like signal for the DD.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the little DDT
Yeah.
signal, the little
Oh, yeah.
the Macho Man, the little finger in there.
Yeah, I don't know if it was his taunt, but I liked Bret Hart's little like side to side with his hands.
Oh, the
Like,
little.
yeah,
That is a good
yeah,
one.
yeah.
The
I
Bret
don't know
Hart
if
one.
that was his taunt. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the Shawn Michaels was kind of cool. The little like stretch with the little.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Razor Ramon.
Yeah, that's tight. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or like the when he's in the ring.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love when Rick Rude came out with Jake the Snake's wife
Yeah. That's
face on
fun.
the crotch of his
Yeah.
pants. Is mainly retro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Goldberg with the pyro.
Oh
That was
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
That thing got you pumped.
Yeah.
Oh, I still love the little La Parca dance when you do that little like
oh
strut.
yeah, the little spin.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. So since no one's coming on,
Uh,
we're gonna do a little trivia game. I'm gonna put you guys to the challenge right here, and you guys in the chat right here on YouTube at
Uh-oh.
Retro Thibodeau on YouTube. You guys can jump in and try to help them out. So this is the game we're gonna play. I'm thinking of a wrestler. Tylord knows this game. This is wrestler 20 questions. You have 20 questions, including is this wrestler X, to find out which wrestler I'm thinking about. The catch, you guys have to work like a team. So you guys
Okay.
determine who asks, if you guys want to take turns asking
Okay.
questions. The only catch is you can only ask me yes or questions that I can only answer with a yes or no.
Okay.
Okay? And you
Alright.
got 20 questions. I'm thinking of a wrestler right now.
Okay.
You have
Is it-
20 questions to figure it.
We should ask him if he was ever a certain champion or not.
Yeah, you guys figure out what questions you want to ask.
I think he just asked you one.
Yeah.
What was it?
I
What
guess
was the question?
it's too narrow to ask if he was a champion, but was he ever a WW or WCW champion?
Yes.
Okay, there we go, Billy.
All right. Okay. Does this wrestler use face paint?
No.
Okay. Is this wrestler over 300 pounds?
No.
Okay.
Big question. Big question. Is this wrestler's finishing move from the top rope?
No.
Okay. What do you think? Is this
4 questions so far.
okay? Is this wrestler? Did this wrestler? I'm sure. Let's see. Is this wrestler? Was this wrestler in win a WWF title?
Nope.
Okay, cool. Okay, we got.
That's 5 questions.
Okay.
Was this wrestler in the NWO?
Yes.
All
Damn, that's a
right.
good question.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Woo!
Is it Steve Gutenberg? It is not Steve Gutenberg. Let me give you guys a hint. It is not Steve Gutenberg, like Ryan says.
Okay. So was this guy in the red or white? I guess they can be in both. Was he in the red?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, you guys are doing good as a tag team.
I think I know who it is already. It's one of your guys.
Is this wrestler named Sting?
No.
Oh,
Okay, so we can guess, and that's a question. We don't lose, right?
Mahoney. It is not Mahoney.
Okay.
Buddy.
Okay.
Conan says Rushmore. Rushmore's guessing it's Conan.
oh, could be.
Okay. Is this wrestler? No, I'm just joking. Is it? I'm gonna be like Sexy Chino. Is this wrestler Crush? No, I'm just kidding.
Is this your section? Is that your question?
No. Is it? I was just kidding. Is this guy in prison right now?
Damn.
Damn, no.
Oh, okay. It's not the guy I thought it was.
All right.
Take your time, pals. We're live, pals.
Is this wrestler? I don't know. Have a tag team partner?
Did he have a tag team partner?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
That's 10. You guys are halfway.
Okay.
You guys are doing good.
Is
It is not Louis Armstrong retro.
God damn.
Okay. So this guy was never a WWF champion. He was a WCW champion. He's under 300 pounds. He's not Buff Bagwell. He's not Sting, and he was in NWO Wolfpack. Is it? Is he? I got a couple of guys. Is this guy blonde?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That narrows it down. If
Yeah.
I'm not. Does this wrestler have a bionic elbow?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, Billy.
Who wants to ask the question?
Go ahead.
I think you guys got it.
Billy got it.
Is this wrestler Lex Luger?
It is Lex Luger.
Hey.
I guess that's not fair to Sexy Chino because there was two of us. But look how easy that was.
You picked the right guy, Chico.
That's your right answer.
Hey.
You picked the right guy, Chico.
Yeah.
Well, that was it. You guys did a good job. You guys only asked 13 questions.
All right.
Pretty good. I think the one that was put in, like, you guys locked in after that, it was when you asked, was he in the NWO?
Yeah.
And then was he in the Wolfpack? I think that kind of narrowed it down pretty well.
And the blonde. That was a good question.
Narcissus. Quesadilla. The narcissist. Before we go, can you give us a Louis Armstrong, Tylord?
Okay, Louis Armstrong.
Yeah, a little impersonation of Louis Armstrong.
Okay, we have all the time in the world, time enough for life to unfold all the precious things.
I don't even know this song.
Is that what's he have to do with it?
What about his his number one hit?
Oh, yeah, it's
Hold on. Let me read this chat right here.
Yeah.
Rushmore said, "I was going to say Lex, but you said
What
championship."
a wonderful world. Yeah. Okay.
Oh no, I said he only won a championship in WCW. He actually never won a title
He
in
never won
WWE.
one in WWE. I was thinking it was either going to be Conan or Buff Bagwell
Or Crush.
or
right?
Crush. Yeah. I was just kidding about that because Sexy Chino always says that.
He always guesses Crush for everything.
Because he knows you're a fan of him and he thinks it's
I
going to
thought
be.
it was him too. I thought it was both. Sure.
Yeah.
All right, give us what a wonderful world, Tyler. Come on.
I see skies are blue, clouds white. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Jesus Christ.
Louis Armstrong's badass.
All right, well, we're done, pals. We're out of here.
Yeah, watch it.
I'm gonna leave us with, I do these episodes because it's I call it, I think of it as the road to WrestleMania. The road to WrestleMania. So this concludes the road to WrestleMania. I think the WrestleMania 41 is coming up, right? Next week? 2 weeks? Someone help us out here.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot it's that time of year.
Leaving us with the old school WrestleMania song. Quesadilla says, let's send Tyler to Hollywood for the Louis Armstrong movie. Kurt from Rushmore Show says, well, good night, fellas. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, fellas.
Man, they need to bring this theme back. What do you guys think of this song right here?
Passive.
I like anything like music-wise from that era in WWF.
All right, we got to sing it at the chorus. It's coming up right here. Here it comes.
Okay.
There you go. There you go. Oh!
Pump it up, yeah.
Whoa.
Later, everyone.
Let's go, baby. Down into the